Hello and welcome to the Stone Ranch build. I'm really excited to get this out for you guys. It's the first build that I've actually recorded and edited into a video. So it has definitely been a fun learning experience. This build actually is one that I found a house on Zillow and immediately fell in love with the little kind of sunroom walkway in the back, and so decided that's something I'm gonna have to build, which is actually how a lot of the builds I make go. I really enjoy building off of floor plans, so I have a whole Pinterest board that just has different floor plans to work with, and of course there's always going to be a little I guess creative liberty being Sims because you can't always do everything that you want to with a build in here. But this house actually had a lot of changes happen to it. It starts with this light blue, and this is not the coloration that anything stays except for maybe the roof. Uh, but I think in the end it came out looking really, really good. So this is the house that I built for the Stone family. Wyatt and Lainey Stone are the matriarch and patriarch. I imagine that they're probably childhood sweethearts or maybe like high school sweethearts. They've been together for a really long time. They both have backgrounds in living on more like rural ranch farm style homes. That's what they grew up with, that's what they know, it's what they're really excited to pass on to their two daughters. They have two twin daughters, Oakland and Maisie. They are precious. Uh, so I imagine that Wyatt and Lainey, they got married. They wanted to go out and live on their own, so they got themselves an apartment. Um, they would have liked to immediately been able to get land, but things just didn't work out that way. And then when I would say the twins were about toddlers, I imagine one day Wyatt received a letter that he had an inheritance that he needed to come down and claim. And that inheritance ended up actually being this lot that had a really old, not in great condition barn sitting on it, and that was about it. The rest was just kind of land. And he was amazed because he actually had no idea that he had this late relative, we'll call him Chuck Barnaby, um, that this relative actually had no one else to leave his little old lot of land to, so he left it to Wyatt, and it was just kind of a dream come true for them. They decided that they were going to build a home on the land and then do a few little touch ups to the barn, get it into kind of working shape so they could have some livestock in there. And they were really happy that they had this land that they owned and that they'd be able to pass down to their children. And on top of that, they were able to raise their children in kind of the way that they themselves have been raised. And yeah, that's how they came upon their fortune. So the Stone Ranch isn't a very old, I would say, family to the world. They aren't really one that has been around for very long, but they do have the intention of becoming one of the families that has been around for a long time and has become a really integral part into Brindleton Bay. When I very first started this, I didn't know who exactly was going to live here, and it definitely made it, I wouldn't say more difficult, but I mean, it is how I tend to build, is I don't really have a family in mind mind necessarily when I'm building a house. I just know that I really want to build this floor plan, and that's typically how my house has come about, is something like that. Now, the Stone family, they also have a English foxhound who his name is Ollie, and they also have Firefly the Mustang. She is a mare. I do imagine that they will end up breeding her and having a foal. They do have two stalls in their barn, so I think they definitely have. I left room for them to have another horse. And I was kind of thinking that Oakland is going to be the one that's doing the most of the work with Firefly. I think that she's going to be the one that is actually maybe entering Firefly or Firefly's baby in well, she's grown up, but entering her into the like championships and then doing all of the different kind of events and everything. I did give Oakland the animal lover trait, so I think this is going to fit in really well. She's probably going to help her father with taking on a lot of the care for their horses, and they also are going to be raising mini goats. I think that's going to be their primary income from ranch activities, more so than like crops at the meantime. This kitchen, I had a hard time deciding how I wanted all the appliances to go. In the actual house, the fridge is next to the sink, and I didn't like how that looked in The Sims. And I actually changed it again here in a second because I don't like where the fridge is still. I changed it around with the stove there, but this is how it stays throughout the rest of the build, and I think that it works really well. Later on, I actually add some of the nectar racks in here onto the counter. They unfortunately are not functional the way I had to raise them up with the 9 key and stick them over the counter. Your Sims can't actually get any of the nectar bottles out or store them in there. Um, for decor, I might go back in and sit them in there, and then go back and raise them back up so they are kind of in there. But I really enjoy this little bar area that has the little window into the kitchen. It helps not only open up the area, but also is another, it's a kind of unique feature that this house holds. And if there's anything I love about a house, is its unique features. Just putting in some details, nothing like a good little kitchen clutter. I have a hard time because sometimes I overclutter, and then other times I have no idea what I want to put in my kitchen, and it comes out really, really bare. And here, where I move that little kind of nectar thing, is actually where I end up putting the nectar racks, and I think it looks a lot better than what I have going on at the moment. This is actually one of my favorite kitchens that I've done in a while. Mind you, I haven't built in a long while, but I guess in terms of kitchens that I have done, this is definitely a favorite. I just love the like aesthetic with that dark wood and with the dark brick down there on the wall. And I also just I love how they have the entrances, the doorways, and just everything. I love it. But this is about when I decided that they should have a dog after all. I mean, they're out here working and they probably should have a dog that's going to be able to protect their livestock and help them out. I guess Ollie might be a little more of a hunting dog, but she or he, excuse me, he does the job. So very adorable. I also sized up a car and a truck to put out on the driveway and the garage. I am sad that Sims still hasn't given us functional cars for Sims 4, but at this point, I mean, I've given up on it being something they ever actually do. So, yeah, make do with what you can in the meantime. That's one thing about builds that have garages on there. It's frustrating because if you don't size up a car to stick in there, it's kind of just a big giant empty room. But also, it's still kind of a giant big empty room when you do size up a car because it's just sitting there taking space, which for the aesthetics, it's fine. But sometimes for gameplay, I'll actually just kind of reinvent the garage as an area for activities like working out or doing like a game area and stuff like that. You just saw me go back and darken up the siding on the house and darken the wood for the windows and everything. I don't know what I was thinking originally with this build, but the color that I have it now is so good. I can't believe that I didn't manage to get it this way the first time around. But that's how building is, you know. They kind of mutate and transform as you work on them, and I do really love that, getting to see how things evolve. I put some planters in here in this little sunroom, which is my favorite room still, probably. I know I just said the kitchen was my favorite, but this room is the entire reason that I built this place. It's just such a cool little feature having this just little corridor that's lit up with light. It is a quick pass between like the front and the backyard. It has access from the rest of the house over here to this secluded little. I did it as the primary bedroom with ensuite. The Zillow actually had it as an office, which I think is another really good use of space for this room. But I figured that the parents, Wyatt and Lainey, would want maybe a bit more privacy, and so I gave them this room over here so they have space away from the rest of like the day to day of the household. I also put another little bed in here for Ollie because I imagine Ollie's going to be a little more partial to Wyatt than anyone else in the household. Just going in and adding some more details here and there. I definitely had a very, and I guess in general, I have a semi chaotic kind of build style. When I'm looking for objects for other rooms, I'll come across something and I'm like, oh, this will be perfect. Like here, where I decided that I was going to change up these plants and actually put this one in that little sunroom, and then bring these other collection of plants in here into the living room where I had that other one. And all this happened because I decided I wanted to put a little box of pillows down here. But it's kind of how things go sometimes. I did figure this was going to be kind of a eco-friendly family. I didn't put the dew collector or wind turbines or solar panels in here. I wish I had. Um, if I actually play with this family, I might go back and add them in there because that is what I wanted them to be. I wanted them to be where they're kind of living off the land they best that they can, kind of trying to be self-sufficient and everything. Um, Definitely have mom. She's a maker, so Lainey, she really enjoys doing her kind of like side business. She's got her nectar making that is, she's learning still, but she expects to make some really good profit. And on top of that, she has been kind of debating with Wyatt to see if he'd be willing to maybe do a wine. They've been kind of going back and forth deciding the pros and cons of adding a cellar to their property, which I think ultimately they are going to go ahead and put on there, but they're still in the deciding sides. But we are just kind of fidgeting with the Try to get them just right. The little decor up here on the dresser. We're about to go into the master bath, which I do a simple shower without a tub. I think it came out really well. It's just a nice little bathroom for them to be able to use without to the other side of the house. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here for a second. Y'all can enjoy a little build. And here we are with the twins' room. I went ahead and put them in the same bedroom. I figured, there's something nice about sharing a room with your sister up until a certain point. I shared a room with my sister the entire time growing up, so I mean, it has its ups and its downs. I think once they age up into teens that they're going to have separate bedrooms. But for the time being, I thought it'd be nice. I gave them these loft beds, which is actually very reminiscent of my childhood. Um, it does help open up a room and give them more space. So they have a little place to sit down and do their homework and more room on the floor to play. I try to give them lots of toys and just make it a fun little room for two girls to enjoy their childhood. I did think that Maisie was going to be more of the outgoing and maybe girly kind of twin. She does have the outgoing trait and she wants to be the, oh, what is it, the slumber party animal aspiration, I believe. So she's definitely, they have a tree house out back that Oakland helped their dad build. So definitely gonna have a lot of fun sleepovers out there. And Oakland, like I said, is the animal enthusiast, so she's going to be doing probably a lot more hands-on stuff with the livestock, the mini goats. She might beg her dad to let her get some chickens, get a coop set up and get some chickens and kind of work on that. She's definitely going to be the kid that is always wanting to bring the stray animals home, which I can personally really relate to because I was that kid. So I did forget to record the barn part of the build, which is very unfortunate. But it was really difficult getting the barn exactly how I was picturing it in my head. So it's probably for the better that I didn't get it recorded because it would have been an insanity in itself to add into the video with everything. But I did add. It has two horse stalls, another stall that has like barrels for the nectar and storage like that. And then up in the loft area, it has mom's nectar making and her, uh, what's it? The fuzz machine, not fuzz, fizzy drink. That's what it is. It has the fizzy drink up there too for her to kind of use to bring more income in. Here we have the kind of main bathroom. I did a tub and shower in this one. Um, I think every house needs a tub somewhere, and I think usually, or I tend to usually put it in the, I guess, primary bathroom that's shared by the non uh, main bedrooms. So, pretty standard bathroom. Nothing too spectacular about it. Perfect for two twin girls. This last bedroom is eventually, when they age up to teens, going to be a bedroom for one of the girls. But for right now, it's kind of an office space. Mom does have the maker trait, so she really does enjoy doing these little things like making the candles and doing a nectar and all those. I don't think I'll get her a scrap machine. Uh, she kind of just sticks to more of the home body sort of activities around the ranch. Then we have this little area for a bookshelf and a little seating area so they can sit down, drink their coffee, and read their books or whatever they feel like doing at the moment. Uh, I try to keep it a fairly simple room. A lot of the stuff I imagine when one of the teens moves into this room as their bedroom, these items should be fairly simple to kind of displace to other areas of the house. So that's kind of what I had in mind. Um, simple things they can put elsewhere. But then here we are doing the little pasture out by the barn where our little mini goats are going to spend most of their time. And here's the inside. You can kind of see a little bit, but that is pretty much it for the inside. The rest of this is going to be terrain painting, which I had never encountered that glitch before where saving the game, leaving, and coming back, the terrain paint just disappears completely. Um, I experienced that for the first time while doing this build. It was very frustrating when I realized what had happened. So I had to go back in and do all of this again. Um, I will say though, I think that it turned out even better the second time I did it, so there's a win there, I suppose. So the terrain painting that you do see in the tour video that is uploaded is the second time that I did all this. Um, and I don't know, let me know what y'all think, but I do think it looks better in that one than it does here. Not that this looks bad, but it just came out even better the next time. I believe the rest of this is really just going to be doing the terrain painting and the foliage and everything on the exterior of the build. I think I'm gonna leave you guys to it, and I'll see you here at the end. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know what y'all think, and I will be working on some more Brindleton Bay builds to bring to y'all. I currently am finishing up the apartment complex, which I will probably do tour videos of those 6 units with the people who are living there. And I think that's going to be the next thing I bring out for you guys. Yeah, and I think I might include a little overview of what I have in Brindleton Bay so far and what I have planned out for doing the rest of the rebuild there. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I can't wait to show y'all what we build next.